Welcome to another episode of the Solar Cleaners Network podcast. We're the voice of the solar cleaning industry. I'm your host, Kim, founder of the Solar Cleaners Network, of course, and the upcoming Solar Cleaners Network magazine. And today we're talking innovation, business growth, real world cleaning with the market leader in the robotic solar cleaning industry, which is Solarcleano. With me, I have two powerhouses from the US team, Stefan and Jared. Hi guys, welcome. Stefan, I know you of course, but can you make a short introduction of yourself and tell us what your role is at Solarcleano?
Sure, Kim, with pleasure. So basically, I'm Stefan. I'm in this role or position here already since 2019, 18. So it's been 7 years. I helped Solarcleano to grow their business. I was originally one of the 3 people who started this company. So we were like a really small team. We had 1 guy in production, 1 guy, 1 engineer, and 1 sales guy. Yeah. So over the years, I pretty much learned a lot about the solar industry, about cleaning solar panels, about efficiencies and things like that. In the beginning, I did a little bit help the whole market. So I was in charge of Germany, France, and so on. In the meantime, I'm focusing more on the US market because of my background. I used to live in the States for many years. And I also take care of the UK and Ireland markets and some others.
Okay. So you're one of the OGs at Solarcleano together with Romain?
Say yes.
Right. Hey, Jared, well, you're in a unique position handling after sales and service, but you also clean panels yourself. Can you share a bit more about your journey?
Sure. Hey, well, thanks for having me on here. It's a pleasure to be a part of this. So I got connected with Solarcleano back in 2019. So I've been cleaning since 2015. We were old school, I guess you'd call it. We did it manually with water-fed poles and decided there had to be a better way. So we started looking domestically here in the States and came up empty. So we started looking globally. It came across Solarcleano in 18. In 2019, we made our purchase of our F1, and that was kind of the start of it. So when we initially connected with Stefan and Solarcleano, we bought it just as a cleaner. And as things evolved, we found that there was a need here in the US as a distributor and also as after sales and parts. So that was kind of the beginning of our journey back in 2019.
Great. And the business has been growing a lot since.
Yes. Yep. Started in my garage at my house. We now have our own facility and a handful of employees, and it's been quite a journey.
Great to hear. Now, I've been cleaning with Solarcleano for almost the same time as you are. Started in 2019, changed the way we operate. But for the listeners new to robotics, let's unpack the tech a bit. So, Stefan, how do you explain Solarcleano to somebody who has never seen a robot before, and what does it do when it comes to cleaning?
So, I mean, you know where it started. It started originally with people starting, the early adopters who realized, hey, we have to do something with the dirt on the panels. And they realized, okay, we clean them, we generate more energy. So it's an evolvement. It started obviously with people like scrubbing them with a towel or something, and then they started using brushes and then rotating brushes and so on. I think it's really the sheer amount of surface that it became so massive that some tech needed to be introduced to this to better and faster, tackle this problem. And so it was just a question of time until somebody came up with this idea. And Solarcleano was one of the first ones really who had this idea to commercialize realistically, it's a machine, but we call it robot too. It's a semi-autonomous robot really that really helps you to clean, so you don't have to do it manually, and you leave this manual part on the side, and you can really focus on quality cleaning and on doing a lot of surfaces.
Bigger volume a day.
The beginning.
Yeah.
Come again?
Say a bigger volume a day.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it's clear, we had already systems to clean large systems on the ground, utility scale systems. They were cleaned with brushes, mounted on tractors. But we didn't really have a system that can efficiently clean like rooftops or carports, And so there's many factors involved in this. But so we came up with this idea to develop a product that can be remotely controlled by an operator. It works with water, works with brushes, and can save a lot of labor and can be just way more efficient.
So what kind of robots or type of robots do you currently offer? Are there differences?
Yeah, I mean, there's different sizes of robots. So that, again, in function of the demand. But it started really with one product, which is still, it didn't really change since 2017 when we introduced it. It's just a robot that has two brushes attached. The brushes are about 4 feet, 1.2 meter wide.
Mm-hmm.
And you just basically place this robot on your system, and then you let this robot drive and clean.
But
And
you
you
have
gain an
different
efficiency.
types of robots. It's not only...
Yeah, right. I'm sorry. That was your question. Yeah. So basically, due to popular demand, we did not know where this would go in the beginning when we started introducing the first product. We didn't even know how to price it. We had just no clue. We actually didn't know if there was a market for it either. We realized pretty fast that there was a market for it, and there was different type of markets. So there's a market for big robots, for small robots, for medium-sized robots. There's different type of systems. Somebody who's cleaning a few carports a year, or he doesn't need a big machine, he needs a smaller machine. So after we introduced the first Solarcleano F1, we developed the Solarcleano M1. And at the same time, we also developed a fully autonomous system based on the F1. And then later, recently, we developed the L1, which is an even wider product with a 9-foot wide brush. So again, you double the surface that you can clean in a given amount. And so this is how this evolves. And this is just a function of the demand and the massive build out of systems. So in the meantime, we have, I believe, about six different robots on the market. Anything from a small 3 feet brush wide system to a massive system with, how far we're going, 5 meters, like 15 or so. So the idea here is to really offer a large product lineup, to really one-stop shop in a way that we can serve the small cleaning business to the large EPC.
SolarCleaner was founded in what year exactly?
So we were founded in 2017. In 2017, we went to the first trade show, the Intersolar in Munich. That was a test. This was a test to see if people would be interested in such a product. So we had one prototype and we put it out there, and we just checked if there's any good response to it. And there was a lot of response, a lot of interest. And those early adopters who started back then, those are the guys who, like Jared, he's an early adopter. He started in 2018, really. That's when we contacted each other. And yeah, and from there on it evolved. And we're not even close to supplying the market in a reasonable manner.
Technology is evolving, installations are getting bigger, panels are getting bigger. If I would say, and maybe this is one for you, Jared, because you're actually working in the field, what do you see that are some typical misconceptions about robotic cleaning or cleaning in general?
I would say 2 misconceptions from new customers that reach out to me would be that the sky's the limit as far as what you can charge a customer. That's probably the first one. I actually just had a customer reach out this week, and he threw out some outlandish number he wanted to make an hour. I wish it was true. I wouldn't be driving, an old pickup. I'd be driving, a Bentley or something. So that's one misconception, is people think you can just charge through the roof. The other misconception would be and Stefan hinted at it earlier, is they do make multiple robots. So depending on the system you're cleaning is going to depend on the robot you need. So as much as the F1's my favorite personally, I love the F1, and I'd say it's the Swiss Army knife. It's very versatile, but there are installations where I would rather have an M1, and then there's installations where the L1. I would say knowing your portfolio, what you're cleaning, and making sure you have the right product. The easiest way I can relate it to people is, construction. I have a little bit of a construction background. If you're trying to put a screw in, you don't want a hammer, you want a screw gun. So it's the same thing. You could get it in, you could get a screw in with a hammer. It's just not the right way to do it. So kind of the same thing, knowing what you're cleaning and using the right equipment is going to make your life easier, give the customer a better end product, and everybody wins.
Do you see any other misconceptions, Stefan?
Well, there's the one misconception that pretty much everybody who hears robot thinks it's a real robot, something autonomous that does everything by itself. So the reality is, of course, not like that. The reality is that it still involves some work. You still have to tackle we clean with water mostly all over the US and Europe, and most places in the world we clean with water. And that's the case with robots too. You need to have water to clean solar panels. So this involves labor in a way. So you always need at least one person per robot. But you can clean 4 times as much as using a manual brush at the same time.
Yep.
So it's just a massive gain in efficiency. That would be definitely a misconception, a misperception about robots. Other than that, it's still It's a mechanical partial tech product. So there's a maintenance aspect there too. You need to do some maintenance here and there. You need to care for your product, obviously, like you would care for your car or your motorcycle if you have one.
Not only maintain the solar panels, but your robot as well.
Yeah, of course. If you want to have a long life of any product, you need to take care of it and maintain it. But on the positive side is that pretty much all the robots that were sold, they're still on the market since 2017. So there is some longevity there. So stuff lasts if you take care of it.
Exactly.
So that's very comforting for us to know.
Something, or at least a question that I get a lot, and that we have the perfect platform to get that out of the way already, is the weight of the robot on a solar panel. It's not the same as a human being standing on a solar panel. You're the perfect guys to explain this to our listeners and viewers.
Yeah, Kim, you're 100% right. I just got a question today again. So you see those pictures with people walking on solar panels. Each step you take, your full weight is on a really small, surface area.
Yeah.
So this is too much weight really for the panel. It will result in possible damage inside the panels, micro cracks, for example. So with the robot, it's still heavy equipment. Say the M1 robot, we are at 80 pounds maybe, or which relates 34, 40 kilos. But the weight is distributed over the panel. So you basically have the weight over the tracks and over the brushes. So it's kind of spread over the whole panel. So there's never any pressure too high to damage the panel.
Right.
And for anybody who doesn't believe us, we can prove this. We did lots of tests. We have certifications from various panel manufacturers that certify our robots. And from all the units we have on the market, and it's really a lot now, there's not one case known to us where panels got damaged due to driving on them with the robot.
When people ask me, I always give the explanation of skis. When you're standing in the snow, you fall right through it. When you're standing on a ski, you go over, right?
That's a perfect
Simple
analogy.
way to explain it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to remember that one. That's a good one.
Last question about this section or this topic. What makes SolarCleano stand out in what appears to be or to become a very competitive market right now?
Yeah, so the market, as I mentioned, is growing and it is getting a bit more competitive. I mean, we can talk about competition a lot, but it's pretty much concentrated to competition really out of Europe and out of Asia, China, really. But I think where we are the strongest right now and what we do best is that coming out of a small place like Luxembourg here, we're very outward thinking. We speak a lot of languages here. We're not afraid of traveling. We love to travel, actually. So that's one thing. We have a strong outreach globally. The other thing is, of course, and I think that's probably the deciding factor is service, the service level.
Yes.
Service, we're extremely service centric. We were that from day one on. So we don't just sell robots, we sell the whole package. So we are there. So anybody has any issues later, they can contact us. We're always there for them. So we have to be very reactive. We have to help customers and we have to help them out if there's some issues or some problems. And I think that's what makes the big difference. It's like really a full focus on service and be very reactive and fast. And I think the third point might be even very important too is of course price value. So robots are not cheap, but they cannot be extremely expensive either. So you have to find the right price value there. And I think we are more price aggressive than some competition is. It will remain that way. We also have more volume, of course. But so I think those are the key factors. Obviously, quality is another thing and features, everybody's competing on this too. We have a camera now, then they have a camera. We do sensors, then they have sensors, and we'll do a GPS system and all that. So that's something you can play with, offering certain extra features and stuff. But that's all part of the game. And of course, also marketing is a big one. Thank you, Kim, for organizing this.
My pleasure.
But
well, I've been using SolarCleano myself for more than 5 years, so I'm very well aware what the benefits are of SolarCleano. When I do run into an issue, you guys are one phone call away. You respond immediately. Next day, my spare parts were already at my doorstep.
I think that's the key, because downtime is the worst. You have to fulfill your contracts. You lose money if you don't work. So we have to be quick. As long as we can maintain this level of service, I think we'll be we can lead the market.
So SolarCleano in the US, still the US market is booming with new solar installs, but that also brings big opportunities and challenges for cleaning, bigger install, bigger panels. So this question might be for you, Jared. What kind of demand are you seeing for robotic cleaning in the US when it comes to commercial then, obviously?
Yeah, it's definitely picked up. Like I said, since I started in 2015, one of the challenges I would say that I see on a regular basis is with the really old systems, the installers back then were telling the clients, hey, the rain cleans it, you don't need to clean it. So I spent a lot of time educating people that that's not true. Park your car outside for a week and see what it looks like. And then just do the same thing with your solar panels for 3 years and look at the production loss. So that would probably be the biggest struggle. And as far as the future, I mean, I'd say it's very bright. There's a lot of solar going in. Obviously, the older solar is due, and there's data to prove that they're losing production and that there's value in it. So yeah, that's kind of my overview of what the forecast looks like with all the new solar going in. But I mean, everywhere you go around the country, you're seeing new installs, whether it's a ground mount or a carport or a roof mount. It's even some floating systems. So there's a little bit of everything going on here in the US, and different pockets of the US have more production than others, but as a whole, the whole market is heading in the right direction.
Do you see any specific regions in the US that are more prone to soiling?
Your drier regions on the West Coast would be more prone to it. Just as much as I just said, the rain doesn't clean it, it does help. It's not the end all be all, but it does make a difference. So you get in the drier areas, even in Texas, where it rains, erratically, those areas definitely get dirtier. But with that same, thought process here in the Northeast, where we do get more rain, I'm in Pennsylvania, we also have a lot more humidity and pollen. So we do get more rain, but we have a different type of dirt, which is very tacky. So I would say it's pretty consistent around the states. It's just different types of soiling that you're going to run in.
When it comes to large scale asset owners, how are they adopting robotics? How are they reacting to SolarCleano, or is that more for the bigger brushes, which you have a solution for right now as well with the B1?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, there wasn't that many solutions for that. It was just like cleaning manually or like using a tractor with a long brush attached to it. I think that's still the go-to solution right now. I think it will be. We're trying to enter this market now too. We have two newer products. One is a pickup mounted brush system where you don't need a tractor, you just would use your pickup truck. And the other solution is what we call a B1, which is a bridge. It's a system that drives along the rows and cleans panels. I think that's the biggest challenge, to enter this market. It's not like it takes a bit more work, but I think that's where the big money is. So I think we're getting well positioned to take some part of that share too. And there's a lot of negotiations going on, a lot of opportunities, specifically when it comes to the fully autonomous cleaning. So we're doing some tests now with dry cleaning in the US to see. Yes. Okay. B1A, well, B1A, the A stands for autonomous. So it's basically an autonomous cleaning machine that does its job by itself. We can remotely launch it, and there needs to be nobody on site. So this fully takes the labor problem out of the equation, because we all know that labor is getting really expensive. It's going to get really expensive in the US. So this will demand like laborless solutions. And so we're trying now to prove that you will get, say, like you clean 2 times a year with water versus cleaning the year through dry, that you still will be better off by dry cleaning than 2 water cleanings, for example. And if it's an autonomous system, we can reduce the cost massively. Just to give you an example, on a big site, say 200 megawatt, you do 2 wet cleanings a year, or you put 2 B1 systems there, the price will be less for an autonomous system than the labor cost.
Right.
So that will be very interesting to see. We understand there are some challenges there with the dry cleaning, because obviously humidity, dew point at nighttime. But we figure that there's in certain areas, and I'm not talking about Pennsylvania now, talking more about desert areas.
Yeah.
But where you can actually do this, where you can clean during the daytime, we can have the robot run, say, for 12 hours or longer, and on a more consistent basis. In that case, you would do it every 2 weeks,
right,
instead of twice a year. And we're pretty sure that we will be able to prove that it works.
Okay, sounds promising. Jared, you're in the trenches and you both sell and service the robots, but you're also out there yourself, obviously. How has using a robot changed your business? What are the main benefits of using a robot for cleaning?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost is safety. So we do primarily roof mount systems, and being able to put the robot there and either stay up at the ridge of the roof or in a basket of a lift or on the ground running it remotely is huge. Just from a safety standpoint, it's also way less labor intensive. So you have some setup and tear down and some hose management, but at the end of the day, I'm way less tired and my shoulders hurt a lot less than scrubbing panels. So those would be the two main things where robotics has changed. The other thing would be it's a lot more consistent of a clean. With a brush, as I get tired, I get sloppy, I maybe don't put as much pressure or whatever the case may be, I get more consistent results with the robot because it's spinning the brushes are rotating at the same RPM the second I turn it on in the morning till the end of the day when I load it on the truck and head home.
The robot doesn't get tired, right?
Exactly. Is there actually a steep or a big learning curve to operate that robot?
In my opinion, there's a little bit of one. Learning color combinations of brushes, learning proper ways to attack different sites, whether the panels are in landscape or portrait. Again, I'd say 90% of my portfolio is roof mounted, so all my answers are going to be geared towards rooftops. So there's so many different ways they install it. If the railing underneath the panels is run vertically versus horizontally, affects how the panel reacts when you drive across it. There is a little bit of a learning curve. It's not overly hard to operate it. It's more just to get a good end result, learning how to properly, chew off the system.
So most of our members from the Solar Cleaners Network, they are already doing residential. Some are doing strictly commercial, but for somebody who enters the industry already and wants to switch over to commercial, do you have some advice for those people? And those are willing to invest in a robot but are hesitating, maybe?
Yeah. No, I would say if you can have the contracts or have contacts that can get you in touch with people that would have the contracts, that's the biggest thing is, again, the robots aren't really designed for the residential world. It's for the commercial and industrial spaces. So if you can get your foot in the door as far as how to do that, I'm still figuring that
Before
out
you
6
buy the
years into
robot?
the industry. That would be my advice. I mean, I'd love to sit here and say everybody should just go buy a robot, but in all reality, it is a pricey piece of equipment, but there's value there. Having work to back up the cost is huge.
Yeah, you have to have some business sense too. I mean, cleaning is one thing, using a robot, but to build those contacts and get to the right peoples, you need to you need to be a salesperson in a way. You need to know how to do it. And that's where we see a difference between really successful setups and lesser successful. It's one thing, as we discussed, cleaning residential, you just put flyers out there or your business cards and get some contracts or, people contact you over Yelp or something. But yeah, getting the big commercial contracts, it takes a little bit more legwork there.
More profit.
We can help. Yeah. Contact us sometimes we have contracts that we can share. And we talk to the big guys. We're in touch with all the big EPCs and O&Ms, but we don't clean ourselves. We just sell our equipment.
And I can testify for that. My first 4 or 5 jobs came from Solarcleano when I purchased the robot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank
good
you, Paul. No, but I think it's the future is bright for solar. I think we can agree on that one. But let's talk where the industry is headed to, the market potential. Because the industry is a bit different from Europe. In Belgium, then, where I'm from, a lot of commercial rooftops, not so much ground mount. In the US, we see a lot of rooftops, but there are also a crazy amount of solar carports popping up, school districts, etc. That's still going?
Yes, and I think that's only going to continue to grow. One of the pushes that I'm constantly hearing and seeing on the internet is, people would rather cover their parking lots than give up real estate. Yeah. And not every building, the rooftop is designed for solar, depending on the layout or, if they have equipment on it or whatever the case may be. There are times that a roof just doesn't work or doesn't make sense. But every building has a parking lot. So putting up a carport makes perfect sense. So we're seeing more and more of them going up around and around. And even some states are pushing for different laws saying that, I know California, they're pushing that every commercial site has to have either, I'm not sure if it's 100% of the electric bill, but a good percentage of it needs to be covered by solar. So it's only going to grow. Historically speaking, in the US, when a law like that passes out west, it kind of works its way east. So yeah, I think it's going to be something that you'll see, carports popping up everywhere.
Another topic that I hear popping up once in a while is the use of water to clean in California then. Do you see that regulations and climate impact will influence the cleaning demand? Although the robot consumes just that amount of water, I know.
It's a good question. I mean, I used to live in California. I had to put a special shower head on because to save water. But water is scarce depending on the year. It got a little bit better the last few years again. It rained a bit more, but eventually it will rain less again. I think it's an important factor. You have to minimize the water consumption while cleaning. The water logistics obviously is a different story again. If we talk about larger scale systems to bring hundreds of gallons, thousands of gallons, this is a massive feat to do that. For the customer, most of our customers are in California, cleaning those, carports and rooftops and things. But it doesn't seem to be a major issue yet. So the price of water is still okay. It seems to be available. Seems they're more concerned about engines, and motors that could pollute the air more than water. But let's see. It's certainly an issue. Yes.
But just to be very upfront, because I see that on LinkedIn all the time when you post some cleaning jobs. Yeah, but you consume a lot of water. Not every install can be cleaned dry. Not in every area can you do dry cleaning, right?
Correct.
No. If it's a dew point, I mean, humidity it will not work. And now I do hear more and more of cleaners offering dry cleaning services at a lower price point, even in places like San Diego.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I find very interesting. So there seems to be, and I brought it up myself, that we're doing trials right now of dry cleaning only. Seems to be the frequency here. There's some setups, not competitors really, but companies who build flat arrays, and they offer robots included with that array that do dry cleaning on a daily basis. So that's a very high frequency cleaning. So there seems to be something to it. I think we'll see more of that in the future just to avoid this water issue. But at the end of the day, only water will clean 100%. Demineralized water will clean even better. So dry cleaning will never produce the same result. But hey, if you can increase your production from your soiling loss from 20% to say 2% or 3%, with dry cleaning at a fraction of the price, it will make sense. Yeah, why not?
This is the first question that comes to mind then. Jared, you probably as well. We clean most of the time with a yellow and a green brush, very occasionally with a red one. But for dry cleaning, do you have a separate brush for that?
So for me, I actually don't have a blue brush. I had bought one early on and I felt that it was too soft, and dry cleaning here in the Northeast just doesn't work. That pollen is too sticky and you can't get it off without water. It doesn't do anything.
I know.
So no, for me personally, I don't even own a blue brush.
Yeah, I have to probably add to this when I mentioned that there are some cleaners who offer dry cleaning. This is really limited not to any farm buildings or something. This is pure industrial dirt, city dirt, very light dirt that can be brushed away. I'm not talking about pollen or anything, hardcore dirt. That for that water it won't work without water.
Yep. I got a few questions from our members. Maybe I'll fire the first one to you. Jared, favorite SolarCleaner model?
My F1, hands down.
Most versatile, I guess.
Yeah, it's also the first one I had, and I don't know. I'm more accustomed to it. I'm used to it. I can tear it apart. I would pick the F1.
Yeah. Most unusual place you've been to clean panels, or maybe you, Stefan? You've seen quite a lot of in the world.
Well, yeah, I've seen visited a lot of different places around the world, but I don't know. I mean, at the end, everything resembles. Some point you're on a rooftop in Mexico versus a rooftop in the Philippines, but then it's still the same in a way. It looks the same. The panels are from the same manufacturers. I would say probably the craziest installation I've been that was very close to here to our home base here, headquarters in Luxembourg on the German side of the border, was a crazy, a storage, a personal storage facility, and they just had panels everywhere. So the owner of this facility, he put panels even like on the walls, on the top, like everywhere. Like the whole
I've seen
buildings
that
were just,
install.
yeah, crazy stuff. But yeah, but other than that, I don't know. I've seen also massive systems in China where it doesn't end, where you travel with the train for almost an hour or something and it doesn't end. It's in a sea of panels. But yeah, I don't know.
For me, the best view was cleaning 2,000 modules on a 125-meter high building. That was in
wow.
Brussels. So that's quite the view. That's cool.
Cool.
Rapid fire question number 3. Biggest rookie mistake in solar cleaning? Jared.
Biggest rookie mistake: leaving your spare battery and charger at the shop and leaving with maybe just 1 or 2 batteries and thinking you're going to work all day.
Right. Yeah.
It happens to us even, no?
Yeah, well, I've been on... Typically, the battery for the remote lasts a really long time. And then you think, yeah, it will be okay. No, I'm not going to drive back to go get it. No. And then you are on site and there you go. Yeah.
Yep.
Keep your batteries charged and bring them. Yeah. Maybe a more general question. What's the most exciting part of the solar cleaning industry or your work? I'm just a messenger.
For me personally, I would have to say the fact that I get to see different parts of the US that I probably would have never seen had I not gotten into the cleaning and the distribution side of it. So that would be the most exciting part for me. I've been in commercial buildings, on storage units, like Stefan said. I've been in farms in the middle of nowhere with absolutely beautiful views. Been in cities. Yeah, there's quite a variety of locations. I'm always amazed at where people put solar. So you'll get a call and it's like, what? You put it where? And so that to me, that's the cool thing. Like Stefan said, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Panels are panels, but the location of where they put them. So getting just to see the differences, I'd say that's been a highlight for me.
Right.
Yeah, for me too. I would agree with that. I like to also see different places in the world. What I also like, or get a kick out of it, is just the process of promoting a product that helps people to actually make money, but also help the environment in a way. It's like a win-win situation. And it's not like selling, like a car or something. It's more like selling something really helpful, really attractive. It's a really attractive product because, you help people make a gain, make ends meet, make money. And at the same time, you really help the environment. So I think this is a good thing. It's a good combination.
Yeah, Solarcleano. If people want to find out more about robotics, where do they go to?
Well, I mean, we have a beautiful website. That's the first place. Then we have beautiful people like Kim and the SolarCleaners network. There's a lot of resources out there. We have a lot of local representatives, local offices like Jared. So I think it's pretty simple. You do either a very simple Google search or like a deep search, and you will find the information there. Hopefully you find SolarCleano first, of course. But there's some resources online too. And if you want to have detailed stuff, you just search for SolarCleano. You'll find us somewhere and we'll be happy to help you.
Jared, do you have a website for your service-based business?
Yeah, so we have 2 websites. So we have one, JTK Solar Solutions. That's the selling of the robot, the parts and the service side. And then we have JTK, which does the actual solar washing side. So 2 separate websites, but they're both linked together. So if you land on one and you wanted the other, it's easy to click over.
Okay. And for the people listening and viewing, solarcleanersnetwork.com is where you can find all the resources. And come ask us questions. Nothing's too weird. So we're open. We're open to everything. Stefan, Jared, thank you both for joining me and the podcast and the Solar Cleaners Network today. I know our audience of Solar Cleaners got an immense value from your insights today. So thank you a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Right. No
Thank
worries.
you, Jim. Very nice.
For those, just a quick recap for those who are listening, be sure to check out solarcleano.com and join the Solar Cleaners Network once again if you haven't already. So until next time, stay clean, stay sharp, and keep building the future. Bye-bye. All right. That was it.
Awesome.
Great.